Hi everyone, this is Kevin, and you're listening to English Roundtable Podcast. And this is part 2 of Zane and I's discussion about comedy, specifically Japanese comedy. I hope you enjoy. All right, let's take a look at some more of these Japanese-style comedies. There's 4 or 5 that I'll go through. One I think that we're familiar with is called manzai.
Right.
And they say this is the closest to stand-up comedy. But the thing is, it's a 2-person game. So this is what I think we see a lot on TV is there's one role where the person is basically like the fool.
Yep.
And then the other one's the one making the joke smart, and then they always get hit.
That's
something.
right. It's like Baka and something else, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Boke and Tsukomi.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's where I tend to turn off from that style of Japanese comedy. It's too... I mean, of course, I like, comedy that is slapsticky. I'm a big fan, but I think it's just too on the nose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's too just obvious.
It's very formulaic, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's almost
that's it.
Choreographed.
Right.
It's like wrestling or something. You know almost what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think that's my frustration with it.
There's no spontaneity there.
Right.
And I hate to sound like such a critic, and I'm probably going to offend some people, but I'm just not into it.
No.
I have tried.
Yeah. Right.
I've seen, I don't know any of the people's names that I've seen, but I've watched, I see it on TV, and
right.
I don't think I've ever found it funny.
No, and I think, obviously that's cultural. I think this is like this long-standing style of comedy that's just been going on for so long that it's just ingrained, for so many people. Kind of like, I think for stand-up like us, it's just, to me, it's just so ingrained in me that I know what it is, I know what to kind of expect, but, I know there's going to be something different each time. But.
And each comedian that we like if you're listening to Hicks or Carlin, they've got a certain style. And
right.
Even if you're listening to fresh material of theirs, as soon as you start off, you're like, I know this is going to be good. I'm familiar with their style. He's going to make me wait a little bit for the punchline, and then it might be something that I don't expect.
Yeah, and there's so many tags.
That's
what
right.
I like. When they add tags here and there, and they'll go do callbacks. To me, that's just fun.
Yeah.
And when you can tell a story in stand-up.
That's right.
That is impressive. When you can tell a 20-minute sometimes story.
That's it.
Calling back, making it all tie together. That's kind of just amazing.
Imagine trying to remember all of that.
That's so hard. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So that's the first one you were talking about.
Yes.
And that gets about a 2 out of 5 from me.
You want to rate them?
How about
okay.
you? Yeah.
I'm gonna go 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just not a fan of it. Just can't take it.
Sorry if I've offended anyone. Maybe there's some artists or performers that you really like, and please let me know about those, but I haven't seen anything good so far. So
yeah, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So in the comments, yell at us, or actually don't yell at us, give us recommendations, people that you would recommend for these styles that we should check out, because we're, for me, I just see what's on TV. And
That's right.
And like you said, I think it's just too formulaic, because they're gonna go to the next bit, and they're gonna go to the next shot, and they just have to move forward quick.
Yeah.
Whereas, maybe if we saw it in actual theater or
possibly
a show,
live, it might work quite well. I feel like such a terrible critic, like one of those critics that just hates everything, and I don't want to be like that. So please do let us know if there's somebody we should check out, and we will have a look.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
All right, number two is the reaction.
Okay.
So this is basically people are doing like some difficult situation, and the audience's reaction is supposed to happen. According to what I'm reading, this style says it's a little bit difficult because if it's not funny, you're not going to get a laugh, right? If you do something and you're the only person doing it, I can see how that's... So the reactionary is another big thing, it seems to be.
Right.
So just the reaction to things.
Okay.
I think that's another reason why everything's like so... Nah, on the TV. It's just a reaction.
Yeah, that seems to be...
I'm going to go 0 to 5
the
on
only
that one,
real reaction. I'm going to say that one's even worse. I just get sick of that same repetitive sound.
Yeah, that's the hard part for me. It's a laugh track that just is never different.
It's like a terrible US sitcom, for example, where they've got the laugh track almost just continuously on, and you know that none of them are genuine. It's just the same laugh track every time.
Yeah, I mean, you know it's not a live audience.
No.
And that's rough. That's really rough. The next one is kanto, and this is more of like a situation comedy style, where they're, for example, the one they always usually do is like they're in a schoolroom. Or they're in a police station and they're acting out. To me, this one reads more as like improv.
Okay.
It seems very improv because they're going back and forth with each other. So depending on what one person does, the other has to react.
Right.
And I'm a fan of improv. If it's done well,
definitely.
I like improv.
Yes. Okay.
So
I've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah.
That one for me works a little bit better.
Right.
Possibly it's more of the visual thing, even if I don't get everything they're saying. I do get a laugh occasionally.
Yeah,
so I'm going to
here.
rate that one a little bit higher.
Me too. I'm going to go 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5 as well. There's room for improvement, but I think that one's pretty decent.
It can get repetitive. I saw one where I think a woman went into a bar, or a man went into a bar, and he wanted just one drink, so he had it, and then she would keep popping up in random places to fill his drink more.
Right.
Or it was not drink, it was like rice bowl, and he had to keep eating all of it.
Right.
You know, which is funny for the first 2 minutes, but after 3 to 5 minutes, I was like, all right, let's change it up a little bit.
They do tend to overplay situations in some comedy shows I've seen, whereas Western stuff, maybe it'll be overplayed sometimes, but they'll have a good meter of when they should move on.
Right. It's right when you know it's too
that's
long.
Right.
That
that's
it
right.
switches.
Yeah. Whereas in Japan, it's like I think they've got a longer, maybe time scale or something. They'll keep repeating the same thing. So there's a show. I don't know if this show fits into that category, but it is kind of it seems like improv sometimes, but also scripted. There's a show, Showa era, that was called Drifters, or The Drifters, or Dorifu for Japanese people out there. So, that one was...
show me, I'll check it out.
Yeah, that one is pretty decent. So that's one that I discovered maybe 10 or so years ago, and it's all Showa era 80s comedy, which for me is funny in itself, just looking at the old scenes of things. And that is various skits. So they'll go for a minute or less, just back-to-back skits, different situations, a lot of stuff with salarymen and just general life back in the 80s. So I think that one's actually pretty decent.
Okay. I may have seen that one.
Possibly.
So that's pretty good. Yeah, now that I'm thinking, if it's done, for me, obviously it's subjective. So something that works for some people may not be funny to me. But yeah, I've definitely seen some that really do make me laugh, and I'll actually sit down and watch it. The generic stuff I just can't do. But I think I've seen The Drifters before. Yeah. That sounds very familiar.
That's one of my favorites. Possibly the only one that I really, really enjoy. And I think that is just done so well. And because it's in the 80s, that's just another good aspect that I like. So at the time, obviously it was current, but watching it now, 30 odd years later, just to see how Japan was in the 80s, but combined with humor, for me is a pretty good match. So
okay. I'll have to check that out.
That's one that I do
more.
actually like.
Yeah, the one that I got first introduced with Japanese comedy, more recent comedy, was Downtown.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of reactionary, right? All of it's reaction, and so for me, I like that one. Not so much now. I'm not a big fan now with all the like pop stars and the
older downtowns.
The old ones really
80s, 90s kind of stuff.
The 80s, 90s downtown I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I like that stuff too. Yeah, and Drifters is very similar to that in a lot of ways. So
so I'll probably enjoy
check it out. Then. Yeah, I think they might even be connected somehow. I don't know. Okay. I don't know, but
that old stuff.
But just the nostalgic value of checking out stuff in Japan in the 80s is good in itself.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm glad we found something that we do actually like about Japanese comedy.
Hey, we came full circle around. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's not all bad in terms of foreigners' eyes anyway. So
no, not at all. It's just different. That's the thing. It's finding that balance of what's funny to me and what's not, and then also the culture aspect too. Trying to find a means to it. I will say, I'm going to just be honest.
Yeah,
I don't understand. It's not that I didn't say I didn't like it, but a few years ago, I think it was a lady. She would always just say her name, or she would say how old she is.
Right.
And it was just like that she was playing off of that. Like she's 35, and I can't remember the name of the. If you're listening,
that was her whole bit, was it?
Yeah, that was it. That was the whole thing. And it just went. Yeah, one of those that just went too long. I couldn't understand it, but. Anyways.
I mean, maybe there was some significance there of it.
Yeah, it's got to be cultural because I just couldn't, like, I'd ask my wife about it and she would try to explain it and I was like, I just don't find it funny.
How is that funny? Yeah. So I think a lot of it probably does go over our heads due to cultural differences or language barrier. But I do think some of it is just not good.
Well, yeah, same here. And we could say that with pretty much comedy anywhere around the world.
Oh, there's so many comedians. There's very few comedians that I do actually like.
Right.
And especially modern ones. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of modern ones that I do like. There's a lot that are just terrible. They've gone too politically correct. Yeah. They're watching what they say. They're censored almost, self-censored. So they're too worried about sponsorship deals or getting airplay to just say what they actually feel.
Right.
Whereas in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it was a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Nobody cared what they were saying. So.
Well, it's been said many times, but a lot of comedians, at least in America, feel that it's the last kind of open free speech.
This is it. This is the final frontier.
Exactly.
I can see it shrinking, and I can see comedians that are coming through now self-censoring and watching what they say because there's so many groups that can take offense to something, and that's another topic. Offense, causing offense. Like they're trying to make that a law where you can't offend people. How do you not? Anything you say is going to offend somebody.
Right, it's very true.
So how can you make a law that not to offend somebody?
Right. I've probably offended a lot of people already.
I think we've offended some diehard Japanese comedy fans by what we've said today. So, but I mean that's part of human life,
right?
And that's why a lot of comedy works so well. It's going to offend people. Some things that comedians say that I love are a little offensive to me, but I deal with it.
Right, exactly.
What is it? You need to be offended sometimes. You can't go through life without being offended by anything.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. It's not a padded room all of life.
As a comedian that I like says, he often talks about political correctness and offending people, and he's like, I'm offended by boy bands when I see them on TV. So, what offends somebody may not offend somebody else. But I personally find boy bands offensive as well. So what do I do about that? How do I stop them from being on TV?
Right. Just call your local station.
That's it. Yeah. It's them again.
Yeah. I'm glad we had a deep conversation.
It did get quite deep pretty there.
Far with that.
We found a common theme as well, so...
Yeah, that was good. Again, for those that listened, share, please, what we're missing with Japanese comedy. I think this is more of a cry for help than anything, and not rating it for how bad it is. Because I would personally want as much new comedy as possible.
That's right.
Because sometimes it gets old. I want something fresh. I want something new to watch. So
exactly.
Please,
so, let us know. What are you listening to at the moment? What are you watching? And we will check it out.
Yeah, but if you trash Seinfeld, then I will get mad.
Yeah, no bad-mouthing Seinfeld or anything Larry David has done, please. But anything else is fair game.
Yeah, no problem with that. All right, thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to English Roundtable, made possible by Kanda Gaigo Career College in Tokyo, Japan. If you enjoyed hearing natural English conversation, subscribe and like us wherever you're listening, and check us out on YouTube, Twitter, and our other SNS platforms, which will be in the description for this episode. Head over to the YouTube page to see some of the keywords we used in the conversation and other activities to test your English listening skills. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.